about the right height for me. If it wasn't for Stephanie, I could use the old line, age before beauty, since I'm the oldest one here. I'm honored to be here this evening among so many accomplished athletes. Thank you very much, President Radfield, Jeff Schneider, members of the voting board that put me in, and Dan Gensel, the person that started this all for me. It's now 50 years since I first set foot on campus at SFC, and 46 since I graduated. It's amazing what you've done with the place in 50 years. The dorms now have electricity, and some even have indoor plumbing. As I look out over the audience, though, I see no one that ever watched me compete. There are no friendly faces. There's no one to relate to. And sadly, my old coach, Lloyd Coker, did not make it this evening. But there were a lot of highs and a lot of lows, a few injuries, and a lot of great times. And I honestly even went back and say I was more concerned with him being proud of me for what I accomplished rather than records I had set. I came here as a mediocre 6'1" high school high jumper, and I left here a 6'10" champion on to many things. Ultimately, it was the journey, not the destination, once thought, that had brought me back here today with the help of so many coaches, mentors in my jumping career. Gentlemen named John Kaczynski and John Megson from my high school. Lloyd Coker, who didn't make it this evening here at SFC. Lee Slick from the University of Chicago Track Club, and Ted Hayden from the University of Chicago Track Coach. Some of you may find this statement arrogant, but throughout all the years I high jumped, I never met anyone that could jump as high as I could. And that's not high jump, but jump high. At 13, I could dunk a basketball on my stocking feet. At 15, I was consistently dunking in high school games. At 17, I could stand below the rim, take a regulation basketball, jump up and dunk it from a standing position. To this day, I still carry the injury in my collarbone where I hit the backbone and fractured it. I carry the scars from stitches in my head where I hit the rim trying to block shots. The years at Sioux Falls were spent learning and developing something that I could more or less live with when competing in track and field in my special events. After competing at the 1971 NAI Nationals in Billings, Montana, I was interviewed by Ralph Boston regarding my performance. He was the meet narrator, a three-time Olympic medal winner and world record holder in the long jump. The interview probably ended up on the cutting floor, and even though I did not win the high jump, he told me that I was one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful high jumper he had ever witnessed. He was probably trying to make me feel good at the time. In post-college years, in terms of persona, I never achieved the grace and stature of Joe Montana and Jerry Rice in their fluid two-minute offense. I was never as bold or as outspoken as Joe Namath or Muhammad Ali. In terms of high jumping, well, I was not in the same category as my idol, Valerie Brunel from Russia, or as nationally recognized as Dick Fosbury or Dwight Stones, both of whom were floppers. But I did evolve into something to be aware of, for at any given meet, on any given day, I can compete with the very best of the best in the world and always beat the rest. In both the 1972 and 76 Olympic years, I had turned in qualifying jumps that were at or above the standards necessary to attend one of the 12 regional meets and compete for one of the 24 slots at the Olympic trials in Eugene, Oregon. From 72 to 75, I spent much time with my new coaches, Lee Slick and Ted Hayden, former U.S. Olympic track coach in 68 and 72. And he was also the University of Chicago track coach till 1975. By 1974, I had adjusted and settled into something that was somewhat perfected form. I was still struggling with an unperfected approach, but in January of 1974, I was nominated by both Ted Hayden and the United States Track and Field Federation to represent the United States against the USSR in the Melrose Games held at Madison Square Garden in February. That meet I happened to jump 6'10", or 2.1 meters. Technically speaking, with the introduction of Dick Fosbury's famous flop in the 60s, the straight leg jumpers were quickly fading away. Many retired, some even converted, and a few of us diehards stuck it out till the very end. It was interesting how reporters and cameramen were always fascinated with filming a flopper clearing 6'10", but were never interested in filming a jumper who would clear the same height that was a straddle jumper. In the last year of the field house at the University of Chicago before remodeling, I competed in the unattached division for the University of Chicago Track Club. At that meet, I cleared and tied my personal best of 7.1 1/2 in active competition. When moving up to the next height at 7.3, I failed to clear the bar on all 3 of my attempts. But on one, I did come very close, and with the consent of the other jumpers, Leash Slick allowed me to take a 4th attempt, and I cleared it with ease. With the bar now raised to 7 feet 5, I tried 3 times and failed on each one. I did manage to get my body up above the bar on 1 attempt, but my trail leg didn't cooperate, and it was sadly not to be. Although I set no national or world records during my career, I was a fortunate individual. I competed against some of the very best jumpers in my time. There was the White Stones, Pat Matsdorf, Ron Jordan, and interestingly enough, even by default, I competed against Bruce Jenner. I like to think that I might have pushed them just a little by competing against them. A fond memory from a very long time ago. Records are made to be broken, and someday mine will no longer stand, and the jumper breaking it will have no idea about the person whose records he has just erased from history. 50 years later, he may very well be standing here in my place, and I thank you for that. And one last thing, and I just celebrated our 25th anniversary 2 weeks ago.